Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, I want you to start by picturing something for me. Imagine two very different apartments located in the exact same city, right? In the exact same neighborhood. The rent? Totally identical. But the financial realities inside those walls, they are literally worlds apart. Today, we're going to completely challenge your assumptions about income, wealth, and all those objects that fill our homes. So imagine a person earning $95,000 a year. You walk into their place and boom, you see a massive 75-inch TV, a $4,000 leather sectional, and closets that are absolutely overflowing with clothes that honestly still have the tags on them. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. They check their bank account with this constant knot in their stomach because they are exactly 2 missed paychecks away from a total financial crisis. Now, on the flip side, imagine a second person. They earn just $52,000 a year, so almost half as much. But their apartment, it actually has space. There's a modest couch, a closet with clothes they actually wear, and they check their bank account with this calm confidence. Why? Because they've got 18 months of living expenses saved up, and they confidently invest 20% of every single paycheck. You see, this isn't a story about who makes the highest income, not at all. It's a story about the hidden, powerful relationship between our stuff and our money. That first person isn't necessarily bad with money. They've just accumulated a lifestyle that eats every single dollar they earn. The second person, though, they discover a secret. Owning less actually creates financial margin. Okay, let's dive into this. We are going to explore the specific minimalist behavioral shifts that separate people who always have money from those who never do. Here's our roadmap. First, the hidden cost of stuff. Second, how to rethink how you buy. Third, evaluating what you own. Fourth, engineering your environment. And finally, the true definition of wealth. Let's reclaim your financial optionality. Moving right into section 1, the hidden cost of stuff, or what we call the second cost. This is a fundamental concept that is going to change how you look at shopping forever.
Here is the hard truth. Everything you own actually costs you money twice. The first cost is just the receipt price, but the second cost, that's what happens after you bring it home. And man, it snowballs. First up, storage. Think about a treadmill. It takes up about 20 square feet? In most urban areas, space costs $30 to $50 per square foot. That means you are paying $600 to $1,000 a year in implicit rent just to store a machine you probably only use as an extraordinarily expensive laundry rack. Next is maintenance. A $30,000 boat, that costs about 10% of its value, or $3,000 a year, just for insurance, winterization, and repairs. And that's even if it never touches the water. Then there's the mental energy. Researchers have actually found that visual clutter literally increases cortisol levels in your brain. Your stuff is actively stressing you out. And finally, opportunity cost. If you spent $15,000 on a home gym setup, well, that's $15,000 that wasn't invested in index funds which could have grown to $50,000 over 15 years. The purchase price is really just the entry fee for owning an object.
All right, section 2, rethink how you buy. Math over emotion. Let's transition into the active phase of how minimalists completely rethink their purchasing habits to cut right through slick marketing and emotional impulses. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it completely flips our idea of what is considered expensive. This is Rule 1. Calculate your cost per use. Think about it like this. If you buy a cheap $200 jacket, but you only wear it twice, that jacket costs you $100 per wear. But if you buy a high-quality $400 jacket and wear it 200 times, it only costs you $2 per wear. The more expensive jacket is actually vastly cheaper in any meaningful sense. Doing this simple math instantly destroys impulse purchases. Suddenly, that $300 kitchen gadget you'll use maybe twice a year looks like an absolutely terrible financial decision. Next up is Rule 7, which addresses what we call the lifestyle multiplier. A major purchase is almost never just a one-and-done singular event. It's an entire ecosystem. You buy a boat. Well, that triggers buying a trailer, which triggers paying for storage, which triggers buying safety gear. You see how this works? A $5,000 purchase quickly balloons into a $12,000 ecosystem of cascading expenses. Always calculate the full multiplier before making a major purchase. And to round out how we rethink buying, here are 3 crucial rules you've got to keep in mind. First, rent or borrow before you buy. Don't become a museum of past enthusiasm, right? If you want to try kayaking, just rent one first, so you don't end up with expensive gear collecting dust in the garage. Second, never upgrade perfectly functional items out of sheer boredom. Replacing a perfectly good phone, actually, scratch that. Replacing any working item just because a shiny new one came out is wealth destruction disguised as progress. And third, you have to define what enough looks like before your income goes up. If you don't define enough, you're going to endlessly move the goalposts. You'll inflate your lifestyle to match your paycheck, and you'll never actually build real wealth. Let's look at Section 3, Evaluate What You Own, Confronting Accumulation. We've talked a lot about buying, but now we need to turn the mirror inward and confront all the stuff already taking up space in our homes. I want you to answer this honestly in your head. How many shirts do you actually own? Take a brief second to really think about it. Most people, they guess way low. And when they actually go count them, they are completely shocked to discover they own 3 or 4 times what they estimated. When you count your possessions, it forces awareness. And awareness is exactly what prevents mindless accumulation. Which brings us to Rule 2, the replacement test. I challenge you to walk through your house and look at your items. If that dusty bread maker or that fondue set disappeared today, would you actually go to the store and spend hard-earned money to buy it again? For most things, the honest answer is a hard no. They're just sitting there due to pure inertia, draining your mental energy and eating up your space. So how do we actually get rid of it? Well, most people try this massive annual purge. And sure, it feels productive for a minute, but it is incredibly overwhelming. Plus, over the next year, sneaky lifestyle creep just brings all the clutter right back without you even noticing. Minimalists instead use cyclical decluttering. Removing just 3 items a week is completely manageable. And more importantly, it builds this constant awareness so you catch the accumulation way before it takes over your home again. Moving to Section 4, Engineer Your Environment. Systems over willpower. The core truth here is that minimalists don't just magically trust themselves to make good decisions. They know that human willpower always, eventually, depletes. Instead of relying on willpower, they actively engineer their environment by designing foolproof systems. They add massive friction to spending. They delete the shopping apps, they remove saved credit card numbers from websites, and they implement a strict 24-hour waiting period for any non-essential purchases. Listen to this. That 24-hour rule alone eliminates roughly 70% of impulse purchases. It's a real game changer. On the flip side, they make saving completely effortless. Automatic transfers on payday, treating savings exactly like a fixed expense, like rent. Human behavior naturally follows the path of least resistance, right? So make spending hard and make saving easy. Finally, Section 5, the true definition of wealth, freedom versus stuff. Let's elevate this conversation to the climax. What is all of this saved money and reduced clutter actually supposed to achieve in the end? It achieves exactly this, true wealth. Rule 9 dictates that true wealth is measured by optionality. It's not about accumulation. It's not about those visible markers of success, like the huge houses and the flashy, expensive cars. It's about absolute freedom. Can you leave a job that is just destroying your mental health? Can you take 6 months off for a family emergency? The money tied up in a luxury car you don't really need is money that cannot buy your freedom to make those life-altering choices. When you buy stuff you don't need, you are literally trading your optionality for a possession. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal, the virtuous cycle. When you spend less, you naturally save more. Saving more creates actual, tangible financial security. And here is the absolute best secret nobody tells you. That security naturally dissolves the emotional compulsion to buy more stuff. People very often spend to fill an emotional void created by financial insecurity. When your bank account is robust, you just don't need to buy a shiny object to feel successful anymore. So it all comes full circle back to those 2 apartments we started with. Both lifestyles are fully available to you, regardless of your actual income. It leaves us with this really powerful final question. Do you want to own your possessions, or are you comfortable with your possessions owning you? Do you want the hidden, suffocating anxiety of the $95,000 earner? Or do you want the ultimate peace, security, and optionality of true minimalism? The math and honestly the peace of mind strongly favor making your stuff work for you, not the other way around. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Start applying these rules today, and I promise you, you're going to end up with less stuff and so much more life.